This morning, the New England Patriots released Stephon Gilmore, and my DMs exploded. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Here we go again, Grossi. And breaking news, the Patriots releasing four-time Pro Bowler corner Stephon Gilmore. Now, there's a lot of layers to this, and this video is going to be a little nuanced because the title of this video is Should the Packers Sign Stephon Gilmore? And if the too long didn't watch version of this came out, yes, they should. However, are they going to be able to? That's a very different question. And looking at Stephon Gilmore, he's currently on the PUP list, just like David Bakhtiari, our all-pro left tackle. And so he's eligible to return after week 6. And apparently the reason why Stephon Gilmore is no longer with the Patriots is they could not agree on a long-term deal. Stephon Gilmore was in the final year of his contract after signing a 5-year extension with the Patriots back in 2017 for $65 million. And right there is going to be the first caveat and first problem with the Green Bay Packers is if Stephon Gilmore wants a long-term deal, I don't think he's going to find that in Green Bay for a multitude of reasons. Now, the Patriots apparently attempted to trade Stephon Gilmore, but other teams were concerned about his health issues and what he was going to look like coming off this quad injury. Last season, obviously, didn't play the full season, was playing injured, and wasn't at his full potential like he was back in 2019 when the guy had 20 passes defended. So there was definitely some hesitation when it came to teams. However, now teams can kind of just take a flyer and say like, yeah, we'll sign you to a 1-year deal and then potentially a long-term deal if you pan out. And for the Patriots, this actually frees up $5.8 million in cap for them. So they're looking pretty good and they can potentially go out and sign someone if they would like to. But let's talk about why the Packers should sign Stephon Gilmore. So let's talk about one. We could use another corner back there. Eric Stokes, who has looked good in his rookie year, is a rookie. Kevin King is currently injured, but should be back. And as we know about Kevin King, he's definitely not a long-term solution there. Stephon Gilmore is a fantastic player. On top of that, Jaire Alexander is injured. We should know the extent of his injury today. The last time we checked, the Packers were seeking out a whole bunch of different opinions, and then maybe he could play safety if he was in a brace, and yada, yada, yada. The point is we don't know how long Jaire Alexander is going to be out for. So there's a definite need for CB, one of Stephon Gilmore's quality, to be on the Packers and in their secondary. So the Packers definitely have a use for him. Now, let's talk about why this probably will not work out. I'm sorry to rain on anybody's parade. Let's talk about the logistical things. Right now, the Green Bay Packers have $7.2 million in cap for the 2021 season. So the Packers could be like, hey, I'll sign you to a $7 million deal and, we'll take a flyer on you. But after that, the Packers are way over the cap for next year. Now, that could also shift because if Zadarius Smith no longer is with the Packers, on top of that, if Aaron Rodgers gets traded, there's definitely some workarounds that they can do. But at the same time, you need to look at Jaire Alexander because Jaire Alexander next year is in the final year of his rookie year and is going to need to be extended. And it's likely expected that he is going to make the most amount of money out of any CB that we've seen thus far because he is an amazing player. And with a guy like Eric Stokes playing well, you'd think the Packers are going to put more of an emphasis on extending Jaire, keeping that secondary young, rather than going for a 31-year-old Stephon Gilmore for any long-term plans. So I think, honestly, the issue is going to come down to is we could give you like $7 million this year, but we can't guarantee you anything in the following years. And I don't even think the Packers necessarily want to. I think the only way that this works is if they approach Gilmore's agents and say, hey, listen, we will give you a 1-year deal. And then after that, you can go sign anywhere else you want. In addition, while guys like Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith have definitely stepped it up, Rashawn Gary definitely in the last game, we do have a need at pass rusher because Zadarius Smith is out indefinitely and might be out for the entire season because of his back surgery. So the Packers need to decide, okay, are we going to go out and potentially sign any pass rusher, or are we going to focus on the secondary? As we've talked about many times on the show, a good pass rush can mask a struggling secondary. So are they basically saying, hey, if we go get Gilmore, yeah, our pass rush might not be so great, but we'll have a lockdown sound secondary after week 6, hopefully. And the other major obstacle besides injury that is in the way for the Packers to sign him is there are going to be plenty of teams that are going to be interested in Stephon Gilmore. Likely, I don't know, the Buccaneers where Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski are on, and they also need secondary help. Right now, Richard Sherman's just like, crap. And I didn't play too well on Sunday. They just signed Richard Sherman because their secondary was so banged up and needed lots of help. Stephon Gilmore would give them that help immediately if he's healthy. And I would imagine the Buccaneers would be like, oh yeah, well, sure, we'll throw some money at you. In addition, you have teams like the Cowboys who could use secondary help, go along with Trayvon Diggs. You have the 49ers who could use secondary help. There are plenty of teams that are going to be vying for Stephon Gilmore. So I think right off the bat, the Packers, they can't offer a ton like these other teams are going to be able to do. So I think that's going to be one of the major obstacles that stands in the way between the Packers signing this guy. So while I do agree that the Packers should go after, and it's expected that the Packers are going to show interest in Stephon Gilmore, the issue I think is going to come down to the logistics on we are not going to be able to offer him a long-term deal. In addition, we're going to be focusing on developing our young corners and extending our already great corners. And while this would be a fantastic short-term fix, there's also Stephon Gilmore and his agent that you have to worry about, and there's all these other competing teams. So yes, I think you could definitely pitch it to Stephon Gilmore of, hey, listen, we'll give you $7 million and you have a chance to win a Super Bowl this year with Aaron Rodgers. And that might be enough, but then again, the Buccaneers can offer him the same exact thing, and hell, maybe even the Cowboys can offer him that, but with more money and potentially long-term deal looming. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you feel about this? Should the Packers even go after Stephon Gilmore? How do you feel about our chances getting him? Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or TomGrossiComedy on all social media. See down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.